Pickup Lines is presented by Gamez Law Firm. Personal injury guidance for more than 50 years. Gamez Law fights. By Integrity Roofing and Siding. Family owned and operated for more than 40 years, serving the San Antonio area for roofing, siding, and renovation needs. And by the Sabinal Group. For nearly 20 years, serving the San Antonio region through professional minority general contracting services. Pickup Lines is broadcast from inside the all-electric Lexus RZ450e, courtesy of North Park Lexus at Dominion and North Park Lexus of San Antonio. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you are staying warm wherever you are. This is another episode of Pickup Lines live at a pretty remarkable place, which we will talk about here in just a little bit. But we have the dynamic sky open in the car, and you can see just nary a cloud in the sky on this beautiful day here. But again, hopefully you're staying warm. This is the talk show in a car, and thankfully the heater is working. I have Julissa Carielo with me here today, who wears many hats, but among them, she's the president of DreamOn Group, and we are parked. Your building is literally casting a shadow on the car right now.
Right.
So thank you so much for having us.
Good.
And congratulations on everything you've done.
Thank you.
It would take me probably 2.5 hours to get through everything. But you and I have something in common. I should mention this episode is in conjunction with our friends at Dream Week San Antonio. You spoke last night at their Dream Hour speaker series. I spoke there last week, and we both survived.
Yes.
It's a pretty cool experience.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Sharing your story and everything. Do you like public speaking?
I do. It's fine. I feel
Okay.
comfortable sharing.
Yeah.
I think people learn from hearing, and if we can inspire somebody to get out and do something, that's good.
I have a feeling you're going to inspire some people here today. And again, I've already told Julissa this. You know, she's one of these people that have been here in San Antonio this entire time. And I'm not going to lie, I'm slightly embarrassed to say I just didn't know a lot about her remarkable story. I will say you're you're probably the only person I've ever met that actually purchased a school. You heard right.
I agree.
She
Yes.
bought a school.
A historical elementary
It's about
school.
100 years old.
Yes, it is 100 years old.
Right. If you hear a train passes here in just a little bit, I guess we should tell everybody where we are right now.
We are on 1811 South Laredo, right off I-10, and we're at the heart of, what we like to call the start of the West Side.
Yeah, yeah. So the story I was told was that once upon a time you were working nearby or next door.
I own the property next door.
You own the property next door, and you kept looking over at this elementary school, which dates back to the 1920s, and you just couldn't get this place out of your mind.
I just saw the school that was empty, and I just thought, I was out of space.
Right.
I needed a new location, and what can we do with the campus to bring it back to
So it was
life?
an SAISD campus. Frank, what was the name of the...
The Johnson Center.
Okay, it was, yeah, and I'd never heard of this. You probably haven't heard of this school either because it's been closed for some time. But you basically went to SAISD and said, I would like to buy this school, this building.
I wrote a letter to the school board, a very long letter, requesting them to let me look at the campus, and that if I would buy the campus, that I would bring an entrepreneurship center to the area in this campus. And they actually responded and said, we love the idea. We would love to partner with you. And I said, absolutely not. I would not have the time to go to the board every year for stuff. And I got to get things done.
So you had a vision.
Yeah.
You had it all right here. And respectfully, you're like, thanks, but no thanks. I've got this.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just been given a tour of this. And it's got all the looks and feels of a 100-year-old campus, but with plenty of modern upgrades and everything. I mean, I went into the cafeteria area,
Mm-hmm.
the library, what was the library. And then in many of the classrooms, what were classrooms, you have legitimate small businesses and entrepreneurs that office out of here.
That is correct. Yeah.
And you had all that in your
In our mind.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Again, this is the kind of stuff that blows me away that's happening right here in San Antonio every day. I want to go backwards, though, because you are a product of San Antonio, correct? Were you born in San Antonio?
Born and raised, yes.
So you went to South San High School.
Yes.
And I read that you were a little girl, and was it your dad had a business, and you were doing some accounting, or you were already running numbers for your dad?
My father ran our automotive repair shop,
Okay.
and in the South Side.
Right.
And I was doing shoebox accounting for him because he only took cash, and I would separate for the workers and materials and
Right.
the bills. And
So shoebox
I was
accounting
very
essentially
young.
means you had a shoebox
Shoeboxes.
and you put some of the bills in here, and that's
Yeah.
how you separate everything, and you pay.
The money was separated, and we
You
would
remember
save for a
that.
rainy day. I remember it. That's probably why I became an accountant.
But why that? Like how did you have you're a kid. I mean, you're in elementary school. How did you have the presence of mind to say I'm going to do this? And I mean, you're I mean, this is your dad's livelihood, and you're
Yeah.
running the money, which is a very important role. How did you do that at a young age?
I just was always very close to my dad, and
Yes.
I was a daddy's girl, and wherever he was, I was, and whatever he needed, I would do, and he would give me tasks to do.
Right.
Yeah.
At 7 or 8.
Yeah.
You had a very large family growing
Yes,
up.
that's right.
Yeah. But was it difficult to kind of get your dad's attention among all the other siblings or your parents? I mean, how did that dynamic happen?
No, my father was just a loving person, and he loved us all. He always wanted us around him.
Yeah.
That was a big deal for him.
Right.
And when we weren't around him, he would call and cry and say, "You haven't come see me,"
Right.
you know. And
Right.
so, yeah.
Is he still around?
No, he died during COVID.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're thinking of him today.
Yes.
And I would like to think that he would smile down very proudly on everything that you've done. What are your earliest memories? I mean, you're doing the shoe boxes and you got the cash and everything, of course, long before digital payments and all those kinds of things, that you had a sense of maybe this was a career path for you, or you would do something in this space once upon a time when you get older.
I don't know that I remember that. What I remember was the respect that the community had for my father, because he was helping them with what he was doing. And I remember he would come in and say, "You're going to have to give them credit because they need to get to work and we got to fix their car." And that to me resonated with me more than anything. And I would keep track of who owed money,
IOUs.
payments. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day,
That's
that
right.
that might seem like crazy talk now, but yeah, there was a lot of that. Or I mean, there was some of
Yeah.
that back then. I remember.
They would call him at all hours of the night, and they were stuck somewhere, and my dad would go get them out. You know, I remember that.
And a lot of it on the honor system.
That's
Just
right.
trust that I'll get you later, and
Everybody knew him.
yeah. Well, God bless him. Just remarkable stuff. So you worked your way through that. You eventually go to South San, and are you getting a better sense of? I mean, were you active in high school and in clubs or athletics or those kinds of things?
I'm just trying to remember if
Student
I was.
government.
I was not a student. I was a B student. I wasn't even an A student. I was taking ESL classes because I was learning English as a second language.
Really? Okay.
Spanish was our first, what we spoke at home.
Yeah.
And it was expected. And so going to school, I had to learn the harder way. But I think that is why math was so easy for me, because it wasn't a language. It was a number.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you start to develop. At what point did it click that you wanted to be your own boss and be an entrepreneur and that kind of thing?
So after school, I went to St. Mary's University. I got an accounting degree there.
Yes.
And I started working for construction companies doing financial accounting, and worked my way up into, director of finance and VP of finance. And when I turned 35, I came home and told my husband, I quit my job today. I just felt like I'm ready for something else. I gave a 2-month notice.
Did you consult with him before you made this decision?
No, my husband will tell you I did not.
Oh,
I did not. I just said, and it was my birthday, and we were out for dinner.
No.
And I remember driving through San Antonio, and we were going to some dinner that we had to go to. And I said, "Look how big San Antonio is. Like, I could go do anything I want. And I know that I'm not where I need to be."
Your husband works with you now, correct?
He does.
Okay,
yes.
so it worked out well. That's, the moral of the story, it has a happy ending.
It's okay.
The point is, like, I don't want to say this. I mean, it took some cojones to do something like that, because I know you essentially dug into your 401k.
That's right.
Like, you did some things that financial experts would say, no, don't do that.
Yes.
And you quit you were a vice president,
Yes.
and you quit that job.
Yes.
And
started my own
you had
company.
nothing, I mean, you had nothing else to go to, so you bet on yourself.
I basically went home and put together a business plan within 2 weeks to lay out what I was going to do, because I'm a planner. I needed to
Right.
see it. And I talked to a few developers and explained, here's what I want to do. There was one particular one, Michael Hoover, who is still a very dear friend.
Right.
And he said, you can do this.
Right.
And I got some work for you to get busy on.
Right.
And I was like ready to go.
And I had read you obviously made mistakes early on, and as anybody would do,
Sure.
but you embraced that. You wanted to learn. You wanted to be told where you went wrong so that you would not repeat those kinds of things.
The communication and feedback, I was asking all the time.
Yeah.
And I would say, I'm only going to get better if you tell me. And so I didn't take criticism as you're doing a bad thing. I thought,
Right.
I got to fix this.
Never mind
I
the
didn't know
fact.
everything.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. Never mind the fact. Couple things. You have children,
Yes.
so you take this incredible leap
Mm-hmm.
with a family still to help provide for and everything. And respectfully, you're a woman,
Yes.
which in your line of work, I think it's safe to say it's a male-dominated industry to
That's
this
right.
day. I mean, and I don't know whether it was your husband or friends or mentors, when you're making all these crazy decisions, is anybody telling you, please, like, slow your roll here? Like, let's think about this.
No, where I was working, the men were not very nice. They started making bets in front of me of how long I was going to last. And
Out on your own.
yeah. Instead of saying, good for you,
Are you
they
serious?
were like making bets that she's not going to make it but 6 weeks or 4 weeks. And they just kept doing that. And it just encouraged me to say, you know what? Oh, I'm going to get this done.
Okay, so what year was this? You said you were 35.
This was in 2006.
Okay. Did anybody have 19 years? Did anybody take the bet 19 years plus that
Yeah.
in your
I'm
heart
still
of
here.
hearts, in your heart of hearts, did you think that it was going to turn out this way and that you
No.
would be able to
No.
make it work?
No, my goal was at that time to find 1-2 clients that I could work with
Right.
over and over, and that I would get to build things that I enjoyed doing. And never did I worry about what competitors were doing. At the time, they weren't really considering me as a competitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't take you very seriously.
Not at all.
But that probably was to your advantage because maybe you could kind of
Sneak in the
under
back.
the radar.
Yeah.
And then surprise,
Yeah.
here you are, and the rest is history and everything. Talking to Julissa Carielo, and again, my mind is getting blown. I already knew some of this, by the way, but to hear you explain it, because I think a lot of us have taken risks or bet on ourselves, and we have these stories, and I can kind of relate to some of that in my own way, if you will, and it's just so moving to see these kinds of things happening.
Something happens to me at least, but something happens to us in our life when we hit that, are we doing what we want to do? Are we mastering?
Is this it? As I said,
yes.
like, and I've said this before, but a lot of people I think are on the fence and they're wondering, is this it? And it's easy to stay in that vice presidential role or whatever the case may be because it's familiar and it's, some people don't always want to embrace change, myself included, but it's okay.
I think what I enjoyed the most was being challenged.
Yes.
I wanted to feel challenged and I wasn't. And I really put myself out there to be the biggest challenge was myself.
I was going to say, you can't get much more challenging than that. But it's awesome. And here you are, 18, 20 years later, still doing your thing. You own, I probably don't have enough fingers to count the number of businesses and things you own or you are the head of. And you like that? I liken it to like spinning plates, right? Because you're constantly trying to keep everything going, but you enjoy that.
I do. No, what I enjoy is I'm a collaborator. I organize stuff.
Right.
And I do it very well.
So in the simplest of layman terms, to explain to somebody what you do, I mean, you mentor small businesses, obviously. You, it's like, what is it? Design, build, construction. So you take old school campus buildings and you breathe new life into them. And you've got a project right now, which is, what is it, a $7 million Bacilla Fox building?
Bacilla Fox building, yes.
Which is one of many things that you've got your hands on right now.
Another 1920 building, historical building on the west side on South Zamora and Martin Street. It is in partnership with Prosper West. It is an amazing building that has been forgotten.
Yeah.
And it became an eyesore to the community. And we are bringing it back to life in an amazing way. And in April, you will see the finished product. And it is amazing. I can't wait for everybody to see it.
Is it essentially going to be what you've done here with the elementary school?
Similar. It's going to be for small business.
Yeah.
a lot of the focus that we do is focusing on providing, people talk about affordable housing. We
Right.
also talk about affordable office and retail space so that our businesses can survive and expand. And we focus on that.
You support hundreds, I think it's 600 plus small businesses every year.
Yes.
And I'm sure that number is going up.
So the one of the things when we purchased the Johnson Center, we partnered with the San Antonio Hispanic Chamber of Commerce,
Yeah.
Ramiro Cavazos at the time, to help launch the Maestro Entrepreneurship Center, and that was over 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And that nonprofit has done very well, and that is the nonprofit that does the grants and the education and training, and we just basically wrap ourselves around it to provide office space for them, for the small businesses, but we encourage them to go through the training so that you see them launch, and we partner with Prosper West and other
Right.
nonprofits to do that work.
Are you seeing more women doing the kinds of things you're doing? I mean,
I
in
think
these
I'm
last 18
inspiring
years?
them. I think I am
Yeah.
seeing more women. I think we're learning to use our voice a lot easier than we used to be, and we're no longer asking permission. We just get in there and
Just
deal with what I have to
act
say
like you belong there and you do
because,
your thing. And yeah.
well, and the thing is that we are pretty smart. Like we're badasses. We accomplish things, and I'm sorry if we're faster than some other folks. It we cannot apologize for the work that we accomplish.
Listen, I'm married to a pretty smart, driven, savvy woman, so I get it. I
Mm-hmm.
get it. And well, but your results speak for themselves, so
Right.
and you still, God willing, have a long way to go. I
I hope
mean,
so. Yes.
now I had heard earlier another thing you and I have in common, at least early in our careers. You did not like saying no when people would approach you for
Yeah.
different things. And I can recall very early in my career, I said yes to everything,
I
no
know.
matter what it was, and probably to a fault.
Right.
And it caught up with you eventually.
It overwhelmed me to the point where I just thought, okay, I am helping others, but do I have to help everybody, or can I point them in another direction where someone else can help and I can focus on bigger stuff?
Yeah.
And I eventually started to do that because I kept saying, no, the resources are established. You don't need me personally to be the mentor.
Right.
There's other mentors here that I learned from.
Yeah.
They're smarter than I am, you guys. You want them.
Nothing wrong with kind of deferring and,
Mhm.
and delegating to other people. But you have a family too. And I mean, the
Yes.
work-life balance thing is real, and
Yes.
trying to navigate all of that, can be tricky sometimes when you're
Mhm.
running an empire.
Right.
But do you have advice for somebody who's seeing this and is hearing what you've done and is saying, I want to do that, but how do I navigate the work life and
Mhm.
not drive myself crazy?
I think that my father would always say, aviéntale la pala, right? That meant throw him the shovel. And that meant my husband had to carry his own weight as well, right? And so
Right.
we had to share the duties we had to do as parents, right? And my kids, I have two sons. They're both in college, and
Yeah.
but of course they had every activity, robotics and football and basketball and soccer. I mean, we had everything.
Yeah.
And we would take turns to make sure one of us was always there.
Right.
And to me, I thought my biggest failure would be if one of my kids, if I wasn't there for them. That would be a biggest failure. It wasn't the business or the contractor. It wasn't that. I just thought I can't fail the kids. Like I got to
Yeah.
balance that.
How often do you go back to South San or St. Mary's and see, I mean, all the kids, but the girls in
Yeah.
particular, and try to kind of inspire them to maybe follow in your
Yes.
footsteps?
I tried to, I had served for the Business Advisory Commission,
Yeah.
council that they have at St. Mary's for a while, and I still help. And I just had lunch with the dean last week, so I'm still connected. St. Mary's, I tried to help them establish the construction um, committee so that they can have. We need workers, and we'll get them from anywhere,
Yeah.
And so I did the same thing for Lanier High School, several years ago to
Sure.
try to connect us, to make sure the industry is talking to the kids.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, excuse me, I mean, there's a lot of more emphasis now on trades.
Mm-hmm.
I think trade schools are looked on in a good way compared to what they were maybe
Right.
when we were growing up. And there's some good careers to be
There's some
had
major
and
money
money to be
there.
made
That's
in the
right.
trades and everything. And I'd like to think more women or girls are getting into that kind of stuff too.
Yes. Slowly, you're seeing more.
Yeah.
Not 50%.
No, not yet.
Not even 10%. But you're seeing more women in leadership in the construction industry, which is very good to see.
Yeah, yeah. How often do you go back to your 35th birthday and that moment, that day? I can't even imagine that day. When you you quit your job, you have your birthday, you tell your hubby, you cash in your 401k,
Mhm.
and you think, my gosh, if you'd have done one of those things differently,
Mhm.
how all of this could have changed.
I was betting on myself, right? I was all in. I was all in, and I told my husband, if I don't try to do it now, I'm going to regret it, and I don't want to regret
Yeah,
anything. And so I never looked back. Um, was it easy? No, it was not easy.
right.
But I was adjusting as I was seeing the trial and errors, right? And my husband was super supportive, and I remember saying, if we can't afford the house we live in with your salary, then we need to buy a different house. And my husband said, "We're fine.
Yeah.
Go do what you're going to do. Take your time because I need you to be happy too." And that was important to
I
me.
think the spouses or the significant others do deserve a lot of credit, and the kids
Yes.
too, because nobody does these kinds of things alone, and
Right.
that familial support is, you can't put a price on that.
The hardest part to me was I felt like I was fulfilling my dream. I was doing what I wanted to do,
Yeah,
but I didn't know if my husband was. And when I dragged him into joining the company,
right.
he was like, "I don't want to work for my wife. This is not my deal. I'm Mexican. We don't do that." And my husband,
Oh, machismo.
I told him, "Look, it's never going to be a family business unless you come." And he was in the industry. He was an architect. And
Right.
I said, "We can do design build work," which
Okay.
really opened the expansion of the business into
Yeah.
more. And then we became very a specialized kind of a contractor, which really helped us. My husband's been working with us the same almost 18 years.
But on
So
paper, you're still his boss.
I am the president.
That's what I'm
Yes.
saying. That's what it says right here, president. So quite literally and perhaps figuratively, you are
Mhm.
the boss. A couple more minutes here with Julissa Carielo. I know you have a book to show off here in just a minute. The website and the name I want to ask you about, DreamOnGroup.com is the website. DreamOnGroup.com. Fitting that we're in with Dream Week San Antonio. But the name, how did you come up with that, and how long did it, or was it difficult to come up with the name for this whole thing?
So our original business was Tejas Premier Building
Right.
Contractor, which has been 19 years. The DreamOn Group launched about 5 years ago, and we were having meetings on Saturday planning
Yeah.
what it was going to be, and we would call it the Dream On meeting because I would encourage them, everybody, because it's just dream on and keep dreaming on. And so the name kind of stuck
Yeah.
until the end. When we were looking for a name, everybody just said it's got to be Dream On Group, like
It was sitting there the whole time.
right.
Yeah. Super cool. DreamOnGroup.com. And it's got everything you need to look. I was on there earlier, and you can find out more about this amazing story and just a little bit of what Julissa is all about. You have a book here that you
Mhm.
brought with you that is very important to you.
Right.
And it's called The Path. And if we can show it off here on camera and tell us about it, why is this book so meaningful to you?
The path was good for me to, especially I think it was during COVID where we were kind of all sitting at home thinking, what are we going to do? And I took the time and I had all my employees read the book. And I said, it's important that we identify who we want to be and
Yeah.
what we want to do. And the book helped me identify a mission statement for work and life. And it also forced me to identify distractions that were in
Right.
my life that I needed to simplify to enjoy the beauty of everything else, right? And
Yeah.
and the balancing, you can be really good in your business and your family's not that great. And I
Right.
wanted both. And so but I needed to make the effort for it
Let
to
me show off the
balance.
book here again. So it's in case somebody wants to grab this on Amazon or wherever. It's The Path: Creating Your Mission Statement for Work and Life. As terrible and unimaginable as the COVID pandemic was, in some ways it turned out to be a good thing for some people who
Right.
really just kind of self-reflected,
Mm-hmm.
looked soul searching, looked in the mirror,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe kind of reimagined themselves.
I thought it was a good time to reflect because it it acknowledged the fact that we had accomplished so much.
Yeah.
And it also acknowledged that we were really good at certain things, right?
Right.
And things that we were not, we were okay with.
Yeah.
But it also allowed us to choose at that point, what do we really want to be known for? Because I can construct all kinds of stuff.
Right.
But I wanted to really focus on projects that matter. And that to me is when it changed.
Yeah.
And the DreamOn group defined that for us to say we're going to focus on projects that impact our community in a better way. And we're going to pick and choose those projects.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been doing the last 5 years.
And she owns a school building too.
And I own a school.
There's such a cool factor. You can, material possessions are nice, but how many people can say they own a 100-year-old school building?
That's right.
It's not me. I certainly don't.
Yeah.
It really is remarkable stuff. Very inspiring. It really resonated with me when I started to read up more about you. And again, I felt slightly embarrassed that I did not know more about Julissa. You did speak at the Dream Week speaker series last night. And if you go to the Dream Week Facebook page, you can watch Julissa's presentation. And I know you talked about this book last night as well. So such a thrill to meet you and visit with you and get a little more insight into how you pulled all this off.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Fantastic stuff. It's good for the soul. I'm telling you. DreamOnGroup.com. Julissa Carielo. The empire just getting bigger as we speak. And I can't wait to see what else you do in the coming years. So thank you. Okay. All the best. Julissa Carielo, president at DreamOn Group. And there's another episode of Pickup Lines. We'll be back again very, very soon. You never know who's going to sit in the seat here and what kind of story they're going to have. This one will be tough to top for sure. But until next time, I'm Rudy Zuniga. Have a great day. Bye for now.
Thank you.